Blast. Blast is the S-Class professional hero, the top of the Hero Association. He currently devotes himself to collecting mysterious cubes and considers his hero's job as a hobby. Only a few selected members of the association staff have the means to communicate with him. He is Blue's father and the main hero of the Neo Heroes. He's a muscular man who always wears semi-transparent sunglasses. He has a diagonal scar on his face and wears a superhero cape. Not much is known about Blast, however, he seems to have a very calm and relaxed personality, despite his fame. He has an independent character, and from what we've seen, very individualistic and reserved. As we have seen in various flashbacks, he's a figure that transmits serenity and security, being a source of inspiration for many S-Class heroes. Blast has a series of superhuman abilities, including incredible speed, proving to be even superior to Flashy Flash, the S-Class hero known for being the fastest, immense strength, almost at Saitama's levels if we really have to make a comparison. He demonstrates this by handling the mysterious cube in his hands without practically feeling the weight of the object, and then, like a certain DC Comics superhero from whom he is probably inspired by, he is very resistant, both to physical damage and radiation. As for superpowers, Blast can create dimensional portals, manipulate gravity, and emit energy blasts with his fist. The hyperspace portals he creates resemble black holes, allowing him to teleport to different places, travel through dimensions, and transport objects. The size of the portals can vary from small, capable of containing only small objects, to enormous, capable of incorporating entire structures such as headquarters of the Hero Association. When generating a large portal, Blast must join his fists, making an infinity symbol appear on his hands, otherwise he can only generate small ones. Gravity manipulation, on the other hand, allows him first of all to fly, to enhance the strength of his fists, and to control gravitational waves. This ability allows him to deflect cosmic radiation, as shown when he redirected Garo's radiation to another dimension through one of his portals. Furthermore, he can create gravitational energy spheres in his hands to use as remote projectiles. Blast also has a keen perception of danger, an ability similar to the perception haki of One Piece. In the past, this man defeated the leader of the ninja, considered one of the strongest fighters, reduced the ancient centipede to the brink of death without effort, and saved Tatsumaki. Doesn't it seem to you that Blast's appearance reminds you a lot of C-16, the cyborg from Dragon Ball Z? Tatsumaki. Tatsumaki, known as Tornado of Terror, is an S-Class heroine in the Hero Association, considered one of the most powerful due to her extraordinary psychic abilities. She's the older sister of Fubuki, who also has psychic powers but is less powerful. Tatsumaki has a small and youthful build, green hair and eyes, and is often short-tempered, impatient, and arrogant, displaying a strong superiority complex and little empathy towards others. Despite this, she is extremely devoted to her role as a heroine and to protecting people. Tatsumaki is overprotective of Fubuki, but her authoritarian attitude and actions often anger her younger sister. She is deeply affected by a dark childhood past, which has contributed to her self-sufficient attitude and distrust towards personal relationships. Although she is respected for her strength, her explosive temper and poor communication skills make her unpopular among the other heroes. Tatsumaki takes her duties seriously and does not hesitate to face any threat. However, her pride and lack of humility causes her to underestimate her opponents and ignore constructive criticism. Tatsumaki is the most powerful Esper shown in the series. Her psychokinetic ability even surpasses that of Geryon Ganshop, one of the aliens who came with Boros, do you remember? She is able to effortlessly stop a powerful bombardment and send it back. She could also violently shake the headquarters of the Hero Association, a structure that is designed to withstand earthquakes of magnitude 6. According to Yusuke Murata, the illustrator of the manga, Tatsumaki could lift the entire Z city. Furthermore, she's able to sense when her sister Fubuki is in danger, or locate other espers, even from a long distance. In addition, Tatsumaki is able to generate large tornadoes and storms. Her powers can penetrate Psycho's barriers and resist 300 times increased gravity, When she puts in serious effort, she's able to lift the entire Monster Association headquarters from underground, simultaneously protecting numerous other heroes inside the facility. Of course, this ability allows her to fly, communicate telepathically, and last but not least, create psychic barriers capable of blocking both energy and physical attacks. As for physical ability, however, only her resistance and stamina should be mentioned, managing to face the Monster Association for a very long period of time despite the fatigue and injuries suffered. Silver Fang, also known as Bang, he's a martial arts master, the creator and teacher of the Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist, and in his youth, he was nicknamed Bloodwind. Bang is an old man and walks with a slight hunch on his back. He has white hair and white mustache. Despite his old age, his body is slim, very muscular, and full of scars. He was formerly the third S-Class hero of the Hero Association, but after retiring, together with his brother Bomb, they're trying to recruit new disciples in their dojo, which currently reaches about 3 people if we are to consider Genos and Saitama his disciples. The third is obviously Chiranko. Bang has a serious personality, but surprisingly playful. He's usually calm and prefers to be called by his given name rather than his hero name, Silverfang. He has a strong hero ethic, criticizing other heroes for ignoring disasters and focusing only on their own interests. He is disgusted by the negative and opportunistic culture of the association, believing it has lost sight of its true goals. The old man is deeply respected for his nobility and moral integrity. He's also self-critical, acknowledging Saitama's superiority over him. Having lost almost all of his disciples to Garo, his most promising former student, Bang, is always looking for new students to pass on his knowledge. In reality, Bang cares deeply for Garo. Despite disapproving of his path to evil, he's determined to save him and bring him back to the right path. In his youth, Bang was arrogant, violent, and motivated by the desire to become the strongest, challenging and defeating anyone he met. His fighting style was based on destruction, reflecting his aggressive nature. He wasn't that different from his student Garo, don't you think? However, after being defeated by his older brother Bomb, Bang redeems himself and finds enlightenment, develops a new martial art that he calls Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist, and opens a dojo to teach it to others. Despite his advanced age, Bang is considered a living treasure in the world of martial arts. Although he doesn't have any particular superpowers, thanks to his techniques, he's able to face enemies much stronger and more powerful than him. Even Garo considers his old master a threat greater than many dragon-class monsters. As a master of a fighting discipline, of course, he possesses great physical strength, very sharp reflexes, and almost superhuman agility. Not to mention his physical resistance that, despite his retirement age, manages to withstand the assaults of a Garo with almost divine powers. We can say that a good part of his strength comes from his martial art, probably inspired by Tai Chi, which consists of sending back enemy blows or channeling the force of their blows to increase his own in order to strike with greater power. Atomic Samurai. Atomic Samurai, who goes by the name Kamikaze, is a swordsman and member of the Swordmaster's Council. He has long black hair tied in a ponytail, sports a small goatee, and is usually seen chewing on a thin sliver of wood. His attire consists of a red hooded cloak with an atomic symbol on the back. Underneath is a traditional white robe tied with a white sash. He has an arrogant, condescending, and witty personality, and shows no respect for the weak. He's sensitive about his age and does not tolerate being seen as weak. Towards those he respects, however, he shows a lot of humanity and politeness. For example, he treats Bang as if he were his own master, and is very protective of his disciples, encouraging them to continually improve. Atomic Samurai tends to overestimate himself, which sometimes gets him into trouble. Do you remember his fight with Black Sperm? It's a great example of his pride. Kamikaze is very fast in movement, but especially with the sword, he cuts his enemies almost always instantly. He is considered the strongest swordsman on Earth, and in addition to the sword, he can also use other objects as a cutting weapon. His most iconic move, the Atomic Slash, consists precisely in cutting the opponent into 1,000 pieces instantly. The fact that they gave him the name of Atomic Samurai is due to the fact that each of his slashes is so precise that it cuts between atoms, in addition to the fact that he is very fast, obviously. Metal Knight. The scientist who hides behind the name of Metal Knight is called Bofoi and is a genius builder who never shows himself to the public and fights using a robot of his own creation. In addition to fighting monsters with his robot, Metal Knight also provides weapons and various equipment that the association needs. Obviously, only for a financial compensation, he doesn't build you a new base for free. Bofoi has the stereotypical appearance of the classic middle-aged scientist, like Emmett Brown from Back to the Future, and usually wears a lab coat over a blue shirt. He is very intelligent and suspicious. In fact, he is one of the few people suspicious of Saitama, considering him a possible threat to humanity. Bofoi is very pragmatic and calculating. Usually, he acts for his own gain and is not that interested in moving for the simple fact of doing good. Almost every action or intervention has a personal gain for him, from the simple testing of his weapons to the recovery of research material or the simple collection of data. This negative side of his personality is well shown. Z City is threatened by a meteorite, where Metal Knight, more than worrying about saving the fleeing population, is interested in testing his new weapons against the meteorite. Another fact that highlights the calculating aspect of the scientist is the fact that he's aware that the association is corrupt, but instead of disclosing or destroying it as a true hero would do, he exploits it for personal gain. He is so pragmatic and analytical that he prefers to sacrifice some human life than to expose himself or fight in a disadvantaged situation. Before he refuses to go directly against the Monster Association, understanding that it is a trap and suggests bombing the entire complex, even though he knows that there is a human life to save. The only person he seems to care about protecting, and with whom he has a good friendship, is with Child Emperor. As mentioned before, Metal Knight does not possess superpowers or inhuman physical strength, but is simply very, very intelligent, and probably also very, very rich. He has an arsenal of who knows what size, and he usually fights with his robots, capable of doing anything and equipped with every type of weapon you can think of. Child Emperor. Child Emperor, whose real name is Isamu, was a Class S hero of the Hero Association. He's a little kid who wears a blue polo shirt with shorts and always has a backpack on his shoulders that contains his gadgets and is often seen eating a lollipop. After the battle against the Monster Association, he loses trust in adults because they're uncooperative and too proud. Later, he decides to leave the Hero Association and join the Neo Heroes, since this new organization is more open to criticism and suggestions for improvement. He also changed his hero name to Wild Emperor. However, his true goal in joining the Neo Heroes is to infiltrate the organization to discover the machinations and intrigues behind it. Child Emperor is a true child prodigy, a little genius with a very analytical mind who's able to observe situations and formulate plans in a calm and composed manner. However, he doesn't like being treated like a brat and gets angry if no one listens to him. Ironically, he is also one of the most mature S-Class heroes, as he is willing to accept criticism and can work together with others without being dominated by his pride. He is one of the few heroes who prioritizes saving human lives over defeating the enemy. Child Emperor is an S-Class not because he has special powers or incredible physical strength, but like Metal Knight, for his intelligence. He's also an inventor and fights mainly with the gadgets in his backpack, but always after carefully analyzing the opponent and developing an efficient strategy, of course. Unlike Bufoy's inventions, Isamu's are less flashy and more playful, except for the brave giant. That one is really awesome. King. King is the hero known as the strongest man on Earth and the hero of heroes. In truth, however, he's just an ordinary civilian who has unwittingly earned credit for Saitama's heroic deeds. King is a tall, thin man with shoulder-length blonde hair. His most notable physical feature is the series of 3 vertical scars above his left eye and a very menacing expression. Unlike most heroes, he dresses casually like a normal citizen, without any hero costume or uniform. King is kind and caring, but very shy and reserved. Before meeting Saitama, he had practically no friends and no great ambitions in life, other than to have fun with his video games. In reality, this man has no power and is not strong at all. Even if it doesn't seem like it, he's an otaku who loves video games. His favorites are dating simulation games like Doki Doki Sisters, but in general, he's very good at any kind of video game. In fact, Saitama has never managed to beat him in a fighting game. All his fame is due to Saitama's exploits and his blatant luck of always being on the scene of the event at the right time. This luck of his is, in fact, considerable as his power. Since he obtained the title of the strongest man in the world, King has had to learn to bluff and deceive his opponents, becoming very good at it. Thanks to his very threatening poker face and his King engine, which is nothing more than the sound of his heart beating with fear and panic, King always manages to get by against the enemies that stand in his way. Some are intimidated and run away, and others literally die of fear, self-destructing. Zombieman. Zombieman is a modified human produced by the House of Evolution. He has short, shaggy black hair and wears an open, worn-out gray trench coat over his black tank top, with brown pants and a thick belt. He has a very cool appearance and seems like the stereotype of the cold, mysterious guy you can find in K-dramas. Zombieman is a sensitive, empathetic, but also nihilistic person, probably because of his past and the experiments he underwent. He is very calm, inquisitive, with a detective spirit, and does not react to provocations. He prefers to operate independently rather than playing as a team. This dark and nihilistic view of life makes him a kind of anti-hero than a real hero. In fact, despite his pessimistic view of the world, he respects others and does not hesitate to help the child emperor, whom he greatly respects and has high considerations for him. Zombieman is fully aware of his limitations, explicitly stating that he is best suited to stealth and infiltration, although he is willing to engage in direct combat if necessary. He can recognize when an opponent is stronger or if a fight can't be won, unlike others who are more bold and proud. Am I right, atomic guy with the katana? Zombieman is known for his exceptional regenerative ability, which makes him almost immortal. Although he is considered to be one of the most physically weakest heroes, and he himself admits that combat is not his strongest point, his incredible resistance and ability to face prolonged battles makes him a fearsome opponent, able to regenerate any part of his body, even from fatal wounds such as decapitation or organ destruction, healing from extreme mutilations in a few minutes. Thanks to this power, he can also hide weapons inside his body, and this characteristic allows him to fight for hours, if not days, without stopping. And despite not being physically very strong, he can defeat demon-level enemies with his weapons. His favorite one is probably the axe, but he usually goes around with a full gear as if he were facing a zombie apocalypse, where the zombie is obviously him. Drive Knight. Drive Knight is a black-haired cyborg who wears a white mask. This mask has a single horizontal slit that shows a single bright red eye in the center. His armor is quite simple, being similar to the armor of a medieval knight, but his appearance changes based on the various transformations he can have. Drive Knight is an incredibly tactical and calculating fighter. He focuses on gathering information before acting and engaging in battle. He never underestimates his opponents, even if they are below his power level, and kills anyone who has seen one or more of his transformations, so that no one can discover his weak points. For this reason, he holds the records of never having lost a battle. Drive Knight also acts individually and does not respect the association, and he also acts first for personal purposes and then for the good of humanity. He has a deep suspicion and contempt for Metal Knight, who he considers a traitor to the association and an enemy to be eliminated. As a hero, he is very powerful, thanks to his numerous transformations, his immense destructive power, and his great pre-combat analysis skills. Being a cyborg, he is physically very strong, resistant, and fast, both in terms of reflexes and movement, and I would say he can practically become a supersonic jet. Drive Knight's body is powered by a core, a kind of reactor that provides him energy. Imagine Iron Man as a comparison. Drive Knight usually carries as equipment a kind of column? Suitcase? Backpack? Chest? Yes, I think chest is the most suitable definition. He uses it to transform himself by combining the various pieces with his body. The transformations shown so far are Knight, in which he becomes a centaur, gaining more speed of movement and more strength in his legs. Silver, in which he creates a sword in his hands of variable dimensions. Chariot, where he transforms into a motorbike equipped with 2 spears and capable of shooting missiles, anesthetic gas, and dissolving liquids. Flying Chariot, where he becomes a superjet capable of flying and equipped with energy cannons. Bishop, where he transforms into a large robot capable of resisting many explosive attacks. Gold, where he dresses in a very flashy armor that even changes the color of his hair. The specialty of this transformation is that he can increase the temperature of his body dramatically, in addition to having a boost in strength and speed. It is clearly a reference to the gold armors of Saint Seiya. I made a video about it, look for it on the channel. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to support the channel. Thanks. Pig God. Pig God is a large and morbidly obese man. He wears a pair of blue jeans and white shirt with the word Buto written on it, meaning pig. After using up his energy during the fight with the Monster Association, he loses all of his fat and appears as a normal young man with wrinkles under his eyes. Pig God is a glutton who eats constantly. He is lazy but thoughtful, humble but frank, calm, altruistic, and acts heroically. He did everything he could to run to help Child Emperor, even though, as we can all well imagine, he doesn't particularly like running. Unlike many other heroes in the series, Pig God has a strong sense of duty. He is very powerful, he can defeat, or rather eat many enemies, below the dragon level without much effort, despite not appearing to have extraordinary physical strength. Pig God's main feature is his inhuman digestive system. He can eat and digest anything, even swallowed whole. Obviously, to this is added the elasticity of his body and the strength he uses to hold his enemy still. The great elasticity of his body and the large amount of fat he possesses makes his body very, very resistant, not only to physical attacks, but also to chemical ones. Pig God can resist shockwaves and acids very well. Furthermore, it seems that he can control what to digest in his stomach because he has shown that he can swallow allies to protect them from external threats. A bit like Tahm Kench, the character from League of Legends. In addition to this ridiculous but very strong power, it seems that he also has another hidden power that he has not yet shown. Ah, I forgot to tell you that he usually carries a backpack as equipment. What is it for? But obviously to carry snacks. A great hero must not risk dying of hunger, of course. Watchdog Man. Watchdog Man is a young-looking man with a blank and disinterested look on his face. He wears a one-piece dog costume with a red collar and is the protector of Q City. Watchdog Man has been shown to be very brusque and indifferent, and always has a stoic and impassive expression on his face. He literally acts like a dog even when eating or having to do his business as such. He's only interested in protecting his territory, Q City. He relentlessly hunts and kills any threat that enters his territory, tearing them apart quickly and brutally, and often perches on their corpses as a sign of disrespect. Although very dutiful and does not show a semblance of feelings, he can recognize humans and does not kill them, even if they act bad. Like Saitama, he is impassive and prone to boredom. Only a few things arouse his interest. This hero has the olfactory and auditory characteristics of a dog. Thanks to this, he can sense in advance the threats that enter his city. In addition, he is endowed with superhuman strength, agility, and does not possess any particular fighting style. He probably hits with pure animal instinct. Flashy Flash. Flashy Flash is a former member of the Ninja Village and was nicknamed The End. He is a thin young man with defined muscles and good looks. He has long blonde hair, wears an armor on his upper chest and a long white cape over it. Flash is a calm and serious man, but also a bit arrogant, telling lower-ranking heroes to step aside because he sees them as weak. He's also very confident in himself and his ninja abilities. He is one of the few heroes who does not fear Tatsumaki, a fact attributed more to his pride and arrogance than to his true strength. He firmly believes that training and dedication is the only way to become strong, and often tells others that if they're weak, it's because they do not train enough. Despite being a composed person, he has a tendency to be hasty and reckless. He is very proud of his speed and tends to lose his patience when compared to those who think they're faster than him. He is shocked by Saitama's superiority and completely horrified by Blast's speed. He even becomes incredibly furious when he discovers that even Platinum Sperm and Garo have surpassed him. As you may have already understood, the main characteristic of this blonde boy is his speed in movements. Even his name recalls it. His power is all centered on this aspect, and despite not having an extraordinary physical strength like other heroes, his speed allows him to defeat almost all enemies without too much effort. Superalloy Darkshine. Superalloy Darkshine is a very tall man and very muscular. His entire body is tanned and gives off a shiny sheen. He has a bald head, and his only clothing is a pair of black briefs. When Darkshine flexes, his muscles appear to grow to unnatural levels. In the heat of battle, Darkshine's overwhelming presence makes him appear much larger than usual, and he seems to dwarf even Puri-Puri Prisoner despite being only a few inches taller. After the battle against the Monster Association, Darkshine falls into a depression and loses all of his confidence as a hero. As a result, he leaves the Hero Association and joins the Nero Heroes to work as an instructor and training partner. As a child, Darkshine was skinny, frail, and lacked self-confidence. He had medium-length black hair and pale skin. He was bad at sports, but through constant training, gained self-confidence and became the most muscular person among the heroes, and Darkshine boasts a lot about this fact. In contrast to his imposing exterior, Darkshine is a peaceful individual who hates conflicts. He usually treats others with courtesy and kindness and is often the one who calms down internal quarrels. However, the self-confidence that he has earned is very weak. After the fight against Führer Ugly and the confrontation against Golden Sperm, as I said before, our big guy falls into depression and loses all his self-confidence. Darkshine is definitely the S-Class hero with the highest physical strength. Even though he does not practice martial arts, his great physical strength allows him to defeat very powerful monsters that are much bigger than him. Obviously, his body is also very resistant, since it is made of well-trained muscles, and they're so hard that Trochloridium, a parasitic monster with 2 drills instead of hands, cannot even scratch him. Genos. Genos is the deuteragonist of One Punch Man. He is a young cyborg of 19 years old and a self-proclaimed disciple of Saitama. He always strives to become more powerful and fights for justice, earning the name Demon Cyborg from the association. Genos is a mechanical cyborg with blonde hair and has many different sets of arms, with varying abilities and strengths. He's an extremely serious character, rarely, if ever, cracking jokes. He constantly strives to become stronger and often seeks guidance from Saitama to achieve his ambitions, which mainly consist of revenge. Genos uses his robotic enhancements and his advanced and highly destructive techniques to fight the bad guys, although he usually fails in the endeavor. Thanks to Saitama's influence, Genos has gone from a pure destruction machine seeking revenge to a more calm, conscious, and respectful person of people's lives. He has a deep respect for 2 individuals, Saitama and Dr. Kuseno, the man who saved him. He is proud of his abilities and of himself, perhaps even too much. As a hero, Genos is undoubtedly a very strong fighter. He has considerable battle experience, having already faced and defeated many entities before meeting Saitama. However, his youthful impulsiveness often leads to his defeat. Despite the mental growth that occurs thanks to Saitama's influence, Genos' power-ups are always attributable to his equipment. Every time he is defeated and destroyed, Dr. Kuseno always builds him a more powerful body than before. And of course, these upgrades give him ever-increasing strength and agility and an ever more exaggerated destructive power of his weapons. Tanktop Master. Tanktop Master is the leader of the Tanktop Army, a group of bodybuilders who are fanatics of tank tops for an unknown reason, honestly. He is a very tall, muscular man with short hair. He wears a blue tank top, long pants, with a belt that has his initials. Tanktop Master is a very thoughtful and proud man who loves to show off his masculinity. He and his gang have a strange belief that tank tops give you some sort of superpower, I guess. This guy even went so far as to say that Bang is so strong because he wears a tank top underneath. Tanktop Master has great physical strength. He is able to lift and throw a large block of rock with a single hand and can break and shake the ground with a single punch. He believes that all his strength comes from his tank top, but in reality, he got it from his training in the gym. Despite having a very large physique and exceptional strength, his level is not comparable to that of Darkshine. Puri-Puri Prisoner. Puri-Puri Prisoner is the leader of the prisoners held in Smelly Lit Prison. He is a very tall and muscular man and wears a traditional prison jumpsuit with white and blue stripes. Puri-Puri Prisoner is brash and openly homosexual. He is very interested in other attractive males, even though some of them are criminals. This is why he often ends up in prison, as he continues to sexually assault them. The criminals he captures are then added to his harem. You can imagine what that means. Despite being a straight prisoner, he has a very pure vision of justice, a very kind character, and a very effeminate behavior. Puri-Puri is a character very similar to Tanktop Master. He too is a concentration of pure physical power who fights using his large muscles. Unlike Tanktop, however, he has some truly devious and strange techniques, such as, for example, growing hair on his body and using it as armor or exploiting the vibration of his body, caused by the damage he suffers as a power-up for his attacks. Metal Bat. Metal Bat, also known as Bad, is another former S-Class hero who joins the Neo Heroes group, where he takes on the role of Sekingar's bodyguard. Metal Bat is a young boy with black hair, styled in a pompadour and a very fiery temper. He wears a black Japanese school uniform, the classic bully and hooligan outfit of Japanese youth in the 80s. Think of Ryuji Danma, Onibaku Duo. He reminds me of him a lot. Metal Bat has a lot of self-confidence. He is very cheeky and reckless, as well as a hothead who tends to get physical if someone doesn't show him respect. Reflecting the stereotype of the young Japanese hooligan, he has a soft side and is very protective and docile towards his little sister, Zenko, who he treats very well and spoils more than necessary. Bad doesn't have a super tough physique and doesn't possess super speed, and compared to the other heroes, he is a very normal guy. His weapon is a metal baseball bat, and what makes him strong and scary is the so-called fighting spirit. Basically, the more damage he takes and the angrier he gets, the more his physical abilities increase, reaching a strength not much inferior to that of Darkshine in my opinion.